In this video, we will see how we can create a navigation bar, navigation menu using unordered or ordered lists in Dreamweaver using HTML and CSS. If you're interested in more videos, you can check them in the playlist with a complete series of lessons and also other extra videos like this. So I'm creating here using the properties panel order list or unordered list. You can also do it from the insert panel on the right. And I'm gonna put some menus text in there. So you can also always switch also from the properties panel from unordered and ordered list. Is pretty easy. So I'm just gonna start to type some text. So the first page will be home, and the second page will be maybe a gallery, and then we have like I'm just going to type generic names for what the pages of my website are going to be. And let me add another one actually before. So I'm going to go back, Control Z, and then press enter to insert another element of the list. So if we go here, we can switch anytime to order and unordered. And you can see we have a selector here that is called UL or OL. This is the unordered list or ordered list tags. You can also change it via code using the split mode in Dreamweaver. And I'm gonna make some space here so we can see a little bit better. So we have two tags which can be defined as two, let's say, classes or IDs that I can use to stylize that with the CSS. So if I go in the CSS part also here in the properties panel, and even if I go in the page properties, so here I can change the font, for example, and right now I'm working on the overall page. So the thing that I changed there are gonna affect every text in your project, in your page. And so you can use the page property, you can use the properties panel, you can use the CSS designer. Just going to create a new source in page, which means it's going to be defined inside the page, not an external CSS. And then I'm going to go in the selector and create a new selector, UL or OL, depending on what I want to address. So I'm going pretty quick because these are topics that we covered in many other videos and extras, so you can check them again in the playlist. So I'm gonna change now a color. So this is something I usually do to understand the entity that I'm working with, which is the entire unordered list group. So also let me change the font size. I want to make this a little bit bigger so we can see a little bit better. There you go. And so right now we are working on the overall page, but only on the elements that are inside the UL tag or group. So if I change the color, I can see the actual space occupied right now by the unordered list, which extends all the way to the right side, because this is how the normal flow of the page works. So if I want to make this a little bit smaller, I can go in the width and change the width. And let's set it to 80%. So we can see the little space there, the remaining 20% on the right. But they still go like one on top of the other, which is not really what we want to do when we have a menu. Well, this is something maybe we can do in a responsive website when we have a smartphone. So we have a smaller screen, we have a smaller space, so we can put them in vertical instead of horizontal. And I'm going to change your rule in the properties in the CSS designer, and I'm going to change some parameters here. And before I will create a new selector for the li. The li or li is going to be the single element in the list. So each single one of these will become a button. And to make it a button, we need to change the position first, and also we can change the size actually. So you can see it goes all the way to the right, which is not really what we want to do. And also we need to remove the points, the bullet points or the numbers. So these are specific rules for the unordered and ordered lists that you can address. So for example, I can go here and change the way those little dots look like. So these are like ideograms, and then you have letters, etc., etc. Now I want to make it none, so I don't want to see anything in there when I do a menu. You can also add little images, like for example little icons, but I'm not going to do that right now. I'm just going to go for the standard navigation menu, and pretty minimalistic. And so let's select again the Lee, and let's change the size. So I'm gonna go to the width and change the width, and let's make it elastic. So or a fluid, I'm gonna make it like 20%. So they occupy 20% of the space inside the bigger container, which is the UL tag. It's not the body in this case, because they work again like classes or like divs, like containers. And now I'm gonna make it them float. So you can see when they float, they get into horizontal position. The background is gone, meaning that we don't need any more space in the UL. We're gonna define it in the LI tag. So I'm gonna go here and just change the color just to see what's happening. And there you go. Now we have the background color again. So this is pretty much it. So you can also check in the design view and also in the live view. And in the display, we can say display as blocks. So if we go in the design view, we may see some dashed lines that show you the actual button if you want to work, in creating buttons, and then you can add transitions and animations. We already saw how to do that previously. So I'm just going to make this centered. So we put the text center into the button. And then one last thing, what we can do is, let me see here. Well, again, we can play a little bit with animation and transition, but I'm just gonna go quick here. I'm just gonna add a link just to show you how to do to customize a little bit the links colors with the CSS. So to make a text a link, you can either click on the little icon up there in the design view, or you can just assign an hashtag in the link section in the properties panel, so that will make it a link. And this is the default visualization of the link. If I want to change that, I can go back to page properties quickly, go to the CSS links, and change the color from here. I also want to remove the underline because usually we don't see that in a menu. And then let's apply some colors. Now again, this can be done also through a class or through the CSS designer. These colors can be switching and animated, and also the background color can be animated. So you can do a lot with the CSS transitions and CSS animations, but I will not cover that in this video. We already talked about that in other videos for images, etc., etc. I'm just going to do a standard navigation menu here with the standard colors, really simple, again, and minimal. But again, feel free to play around with transition as well, which we covered in other previous video guides, so you can find them in the playlist. And inside, you will also find the entire Dreamweaver video course. So we also create more videos about Dreamweaver, so subscribe to stay updated. And also we create more videos about many other software. So subscribe to stay updated, and also please join as a supporters if you want to support us. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video lesson.